The warning lights had been flashing for 6 hours. Park Do-hyun sat in the pilot seat of the Moonlight Wanderer and stared at the dead controls. Every screen showed the same message: engine failure, no power, emergency mode active. He rubbed his tired eyes and looked out the main window. Nothing but black, empty space stretched in every direction. No stars nearby, no planets, no stations. Just the endless dark of the Kepler void. Do-hyun was a cargo pilot. He had flown through dangerous asteroid fields. He had survived pirate attacks near the outer colonies. He had even once landed a burning ship on a frozen moon with no landing gear. But this was different. This time, he had no engine, no communications, and only 72 hours of air left in his life support systems. He stood up and walked to the small kitchen area of his ship. He made himself a cup of cheap coffee from the emergency supplies. It tasted terrible, but it was hot, and that was enough. He needed to think clearly. The debris field had come out of nowhere. One moment he was flying through empty space, the next moment his ship was being hit by hundreds of small rocks and metal pieces. The shields held, but something had damaged the main engine. Now the Moonlight Wanderer was just floating, dead and silent, in the most isolated part of known space. No one would find him here. The Kepler void blocked all communication signals. Ships avoided this region for exactly that reason. Do-hyun had been taking a shortcut to save fuel costs. Now that decision might cost him his life. He finished his coffee and decided to check the outside of the ship. Maybe he could repair something. Maybe there was hope. He put on his spacesuit and entered the airlock. The outer door opened, and he stepped into the void. Moving carefully along the hull, Do-hyun used magnetic boots to keep himself attached to the ship. He checked the engine compartment first. The damage was bad. Very bad. Parts were melted together. Wires were burned. He would need a full repair station to fix this, not the basic tools on his small freighter. He was about to go back inside when something caught his eye. Near the bottom of his ship, hidden in the shadow of the cargo bay, there was something attached to the hull. Something that should not be there. An escape pod. Do-hyun felt his heart beat faster. He had checked his ship before entering the debris field. There was no escape pod attached then. This thing had connected to his ship during the chaos of the debris storm. And he had not noticed. He moved closer, his boots clicking against the metal hull. The pod was small, designed for one person. Its surface was smooth and white, made from a material he did not recognize. There were no markings on it, no identification numbers, no flags or symbols. Do-hyun found the emergency release panel and opened the pod. Inside was a woman. She was unconscious, her eyes closed, her breathing shallow. She looked almost human, but not quite. Her skin was very pale, almost white, and beneath it, Do-hyun could see faint lines of soft blue light like glowing veins. Her hair was long and silver. Her clothes were torn and burned in several places, and there was dried blood on her arm. In her hands, she held a small metal container. She gripped it tightly, even in her sleep, like it was the most important thing in the universe. Do-hyun stared at her for a long moment. He knew he should be careful. He did not know who she was or where she came from. She could be dangerous. She could be a criminal running from the law. She could be anything. But she was also injured and alone. And Do-hyun was not the kind of man who could leave someone to die, even a stranger, even an alien. He carefully lifted her from the pod and carried her back to the airlock. She was lighter than he expected, and she did not wake during the journey. Once inside, he removed his helmet and took her to the small medical bay. He laid her on the bed and began treating her wounds. The cuts on her arm were deep but clean. He applied medical gel and wrapped them in bandages. Her vital signs appeared on the screen above the bed. Her heart rate was slow but steady. Her blood oxygen was low but improving in the ship's atmosphere. Do-Yun sat in a chair next to the bed and watched her. The blue light beneath her skin pulsed gently like a second heartbeat. He had heard stories about aliens who looked like humans. The galaxy was full of different species, and humanity had only met a small number of them. But he had never seen anyone like her before. 2 hours passed. Do-Hyun was starting to fall asleep in his chair when the woman suddenly opened her eyes. Her eyes were silver like liquid metal, and they locked on to him immediately. Before he could speak, she moved. She was fast, faster than any human. In 1 second, she was lying down. In the next, she was standing, her back against the wall, her hands raised in a defensive position. She spoke in a language he did not understand. Her voice was sharp, frightened, angry. Do-Hyun raised his hands slowly. "I don't understand," he said. "Do you speak Universal Common?" She stared at him, her silver eyes studying his face. Then she spoke again, this time in broken Common. Where are they?" "Where are who?" Do-Hyun asked. "The ones following me, the ships. Where are they?" "There are no ships," Do-Hyun said. "We're alone out here. My engine is dead. We're floating in the Kepler void with no power and no way to call for help." The woman looked around the room, seeing the old equipment, the flickering lights, the general poor condition of the freighter. Some of the tension left her body, but not all of it. "You saved me," she said. It was not a question. "You were hurt." "I wasn't going to leave you in that pod." She looked at him differently then. Surprised, maybe, like she had not expected kindness. "My name is Do-Hyun," he said. "Park Do-Hyun. I'm a cargo pilot from the Korea Orbital Colonies." She was silent for a moment. Then, "Yana? My name is Yana." "Okay, Yana. Can you tell me what's going on? Who's chasing you?" Her silver eyes went cold. She picked up the metal container from the medical bed where it had fallen. She held it against her chest. "That information is not for you." Do-Hyun felt frustration rise in his chest. "I just saved your life. I think I deserve some answers." Yana looked at him, and for a moment he thought she might tell him something. But then she shook her head. "You saved me, and I thank you for that. But if you knew what I carry, you would wish you had left me to die." She paused, and the glow beneath her skin flickered. "Who is chasing me?" "Everyone. Everyone is chasing me." Do-Hyun stared at her, this strange alien woman full of secrets, and he knew that his problems had just become much bigger than a broken engine. 3 days passed on the Moonlight Wanderer, 3 days of tension, silence, and careful watching. Yana kept to herself. She stayed in the small passenger cabin Do-Hyun had given her, only coming out for food and water. The metal container never left her hands. She slept with it, ate with it, carried it everywhere like it was a part of her body. Do-Hyun tried to talk to her several times. He asked about her home world. He asked about the container. He asked why she was running. Every time she gave him the same answer: silence. Or a simple, "You do not need to know." It was frustrating. More than frustrating. Do-Hyun had saved her life, and she treated him like he was the enemy. But he also watched her carefully, and he noticed things. Small things. When she thought he was not looking, her expression would change. The cold mask would slip, and he would see fear in her silver eyes. Real fear. Whatever was chasing her, it scared her badly. On the 4th day, the life support warning changed. 48 hours of air remaining. Do-Hyun looked at the number and felt cold in his stomach. He had been trying to repair the engine, but it was impossible with his limited tools. He needed parts he did not have. He needed equipment that did not exist on a small cargo freighter. He was going to die out here, they both were. He went to Yana's cabin and knocked on the door. She opened it, her eyes immediately going to his face, reading his expression. "The air," she said. It was not a question. 48 hours, maybe less if the recyclers fail. Yena was quiet for a moment. Then she stepped out of the cabin. "Show me your engine." They went to the engineering section together. Do-hyun pointed at the damaged components, explained what was broken, showed her the melted parts and burned wires. As he talked, he saw something change in Yena's face. Her eyes moved quickly over the machinery, seeing things he could not see. "This design," she said slowly, "it is old, very old by galactic standards, but the principles are the same." She pointed at a specific component. "This controls your fuel injection. The part itself is destroyed, but the function can be replaced." "Replaced with what?" Do-hyun asked. Yena walked to a storage panel and opened it. She looked through the spare parts inside, picking up pieces, examining them, putting them back. Then she started pulling out components from different systems. The water recycler, the heating unit, the navigation computer. "Wait," Do-hyun said. "If you take those apart, you will lose water recycling for 12 hours, heating for 6, navigation permanently." Yena did not stop working. "But you will have engine power, enough to reach the edge of the void, enough to send a distress signal." Do-hyun watched her hands move. She was fast and precise. She knew exactly what she was doing. More than that, she understood the technology at a level that seemed impossible. This was human technology, built in human factories, using human designs. But she worked with it like she had studied it for years. "How do you know all this?" he asked. Yena's hands stopped for just a moment. Then she continued working. "I know many things about humans." "That's not an answer. It is the only answer I will give." They worked together for hours. Yena designed the replacement component, and Do-hyun built it using his tools. She told him where to cut, where to connect, how to shape the metal. Her instructions were perfect. When they finally installed the new part in the engine, Do-hyun held his breath and pressed the activation switch. The engine hummed, the lights flickered, and then, slowly, power began to flow through the ship again. It was not full power, maybe 30%, but it was enough. Do-hyun felt relief wash over him like warm water. They were not going to die, not today. He turned to thank Yena, but the words stopped in his throat. She was leaning against the wall, her face pale, her breathing heavy. The bandages on her arm were red with fresh blood. "You opened your wounds," he said. "It does not matter. The work is done." Do-hyun moved toward her. "It matters to me. Come on. Medical bay. Now." She looked at him strangely, like she could not understand why he cared. But she did not argue. She let him lead her back to the medical bay and sit her on the bed. As he removed the old bandages and cleaned her wounds, he saw the bioluminescent lines beneath her skin. They were pulsing faster now, brighter, and they were forming patterns. Shapes. Almost like symbols or writing. "What is that?" he asked. "The light under your skin. What does it mean?" Yena was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was softer than he had ever heard it. "It is how my people communicate emotion. When we feel something strongly, it shows." She paused. "I cannot hide it. And right now, what are you feeling?" She looked at him, and for the first time, her silver eyes were not cold. "Confusion. I do not understand you, Park Do-hyun. I have given you nothing. I have answered none of your questions. I have treated you with suspicion and distance, and still you help me. Still you care if I am hurt." Do-hyun finished wrapping her new bandages. "That's just how humans are. Most of us, anyway. We help people. Even when it's hard. Even when we don't understand. My people are not like that. Then maybe your people have something to learn." Yena almost smiled. Almost. Then the ship's alarm went off. Do-hyun ran to the bridge. Yena right behind him. He looked at the sensor screen and felt his blood go cold. A ship was approaching. It was big, much bigger than the Moonlight Wanderer, and it was fast. "Can you identify it?" Yena asked. Her voice was controlled, but he could see the fear in her eyes. Do-Yun ran the scan. The ship's profile appeared on screen. Long, sharp, black. No identification markings, no flags. But it matched something in the database. "Valori Interceptor," he read. "Silent Hand Class." All the color left Yena's face. The glow beneath her skin turned from blue to dark purple. "They found me," she whispered. "How did they find me so fast?" "Who are the Silent Hand?" "Enforcers. Hunters. They are the ones my government sends when they want someone to disappear completely." She grabbed Do-Hyun's arm. "Listen to me carefully. If they board this ship, they will not arrest us. They will not ask questions. They will kill both of us. Then they will destroy every record that we ever existed. Our names, our histories, everything. It will be like we were never born." Do-Hyun stared at her, seeing the real terror in her eyes. This was not exaggeration. This was not paranoia. She truly believed what she was saying. "Then we run," he said. "The ship is too fast. We cannot escape. Then we fight. They have weapons that can cut through our hull in seconds." Do-Hyun gripped the controls and pushed the engine to full power. The ship groaned and shook, but it started moving. "Then you better start telling me what's in that container," he said, "because I'm not dying without knowing why." Yena looked at the approaching ship on the screen. Then she looked at Do-Hyun. And finally, the wall she had built around herself began to break. "The container holds an archive," she said. "A record of everything my people have done to yours. Every crime, every secret, every lie. And if the humans ever see it, everything will change." Do-Hyun felt his hands tighten on the controls. "Then I think you need to tell me the whole story. Right now." The Valori Interceptor was getting closer. On the sensor screen, Do-Hyun could see it moving toward them like a shark through dark water. Silent, deadly, inevitable. He pushed the Moonlight Wanderer as hard as he could. The engine screamed with effort, but it was not enough. The interceptor was 3 times faster. They had maybe 20 minutes before it caught them. "Talk," Do-Hyun said. "Tell me everything." Yena stood beside him, watching the screen. Her face was pale, but her voice was steady when she spoke. "My people, the Valori, are very old. We existed as a civilization when humans were still living in caves. We traveled the stars when your ancestors were learning to make fire." She paused. "We believe we are superior. We believe it is our right, our duty, to guide younger species, to shape their development, to control their growth." Control? Do-Hyun did not like that word. "We call it cultivation. We watch civilizations as they develop. We study them. And when we decide they are ready, we make contact. We offer friendship, trade, technology. But it is all carefully managed. We give them only what we want them to have. We let them grow only in the directions we choose." Do-Hyun felt something cold forming in his stomach. "And humanity? You've been watching us?" "For over 300 years. Since your people first left Earth and began building colonies in space." Yena's voice was quiet now. "I was an archivist. My job was to study your history, your culture, your technology, to record everything and report to my superiors." "Report what?" "Whether humanity was a threat, whether you were growing too fast, whether you needed to be adjusted." The cold feeling spread through Do-Hyun's whole body. "Adjusted how?" Yena did not answer immediately. She looked at the container in her hands, her fingers tracing its smooth surface. "I found records," she said finally. "Old records that I was not supposed to see. They showed me what cultivation really means, what the Valori really do to species they consider dangerous." She opened the container. Inside was a small crystal, glowing with soft white light. "Data storage." Do-hyun realized. Valori technology. This archive contains 300 years of Valori operations against humanity, Yena said. Every mission, every agent, every action taken to slow your development and keep you weak. What kind of actions? Yena's silver eyes met his. Your scientists who died in accidents that were not accidents. Your leaders who were assassinated by killers who were never found. Your inventors whose work was stolen or destroyed. Your peace movements that failed because someone sabotaged them from inside. Do-hyun felt like he had been punched in the chest. You're saying the Valori killed our people? Manipulated our history? I am saying we kept you in a cage. We made sure you would never grow strong enough to challenge us, never advanced enough to threaten our control. Her voice broke slightly. And I helped. For 20 years I watched and reported. I told myself I was doing important work, necessary work. I told myself humans were too primitive to understand, too violent, too dangerous. And now? Now I know I was wrong. Now I know the Valori are the dangerous ones. She held up the crystal. This archive proves everything. If humanity sees it, they will know the truth. They will know what was done to them, and they will be angry. The ship shook suddenly. Do-hyun checked the sensors. The interceptor had fired a warning shot across their bow. A voice came through the communication system, cold, mechanical, without emotion. Cargo vessel Moonlight Wanderer, you are carrying stolen Valori property. Cut your engines and prepare to be boarded. If you do not comply, you will be destroyed. Yena's hands trembled. They will not negotiate. They will not listen. The silent hand only knows one solution. Do-hyun stared at the interceptor on the screen. It was huge compared to his little freighter. Its weapons could tear them apart in seconds. There was no way to fight it, no way to escape it. But Do-hyun was human, and humans did not give up. You said you studied us for 20 years, he said. Our history, our culture, our wars. Yes. Then you know what we do when someone puts us in a cage. Yena looked at him. You fight, even when you cannot win. Even when it makes no logical sense. You fight until you are dead. That's right. Do-hyun started working the controls. And today I'm going to show you exactly what that means. What are you doing? The engine core is unstable, you know that. You built the replacement part yourself. He pointed at the engineering readouts. If I push it past the safety limits, it will explode. And if I get close enough to that interceptor when it does, Yena understood. Her silver eyes went wide. You will destroy both ships. You will kill yourself. Maybe, but I'll definitely kill them. This is insane. This is human. The interceptor was getting closer. Do-hyun turned the Moonlight Wanderer around, pointing it directly at the enemy ship. He pushed the engine past the safety limits. Red warnings flashed on every screen. The ship started to shake. You cannot do this, Yena said. You do not even know me. You do not owe me anything. Why would you die for me? Do-hyun looked at her. I'm not dying for you. I'm dying for the truth. That archive needs to reach humanity. They need to know what was done to them. They need to know so they can make sure it never happens again. Yena stared at him, and something changed in her face. The cold distance was gone. In its place was something he had never seen from her before. Respect, maybe even admiration. You really would do it, she said. You really would kill yourself to hurt them. Not just hurt them, stop them. Even if it's just one ship, that's one less ship hunting you. One less chance for them to get the archive. He gripped the controls. Get in the cargo bay. It's reinforced. You might survive the explosion. Take the archive and find a way to reach human space. And you? Do-hyun smiled, even though his hands were shaking, even though he was terrified. I'm a cargo pilot. I go down with my ship. Yena did not move. She stood there looking at him, and the blue light beneath her skin began to glow brighter than he had ever seen it. "No," she said. "What?" "I said no." She moved to the co-pilot seat and started working the controls. "I did not steal this archive and run across the galaxy just to let one stupid brave human throw his life away. If we are going to do something insane, we are going to do it together, and we are going to survive." "Yena, shut up and fly. I have an idea." Do-hyun looked at her. This strange alien woman who had refused to trust him, refused to tell him anything, treated him like an enemy for days. And now she was staying. Now she was fighting beside him. Maybe humans were not the only ones who did not give up. "Okay," he said. "Tell me the plan." Yena's fingers flew over the controls. "The silent hand expects you to run or surrender. They are not prepared for attack. We use that. We fly directly at them as close as possible. When we are about to hit, you eject the engine core. It will create a plasma explosion right against their hull. And how do we survive that? The cargo bay is reinforced for carrying dangerous materials. I will seal us both inside before the explosion. The force will push us away from the blast. It will be violent, and we will probably lose consciousness, but the bay should hold." "Should. It is better than definitely dying." Do-hyun laughed. It was a crazy sound, but he could not help it. "You know what, Yena? I think I'm starting to like you." She did not smile, but the glow under her skin pulsed warmly. "Fly the ship, Park Do-hyun. Show me what humans can do." He pushed the engine to maximum and pointed the Moonlight Wanderer at the heart of the enemy. The Moonlight Wanderer flew straight at the Valori interceptor like a bullet aimed at a giant's heart. Do-hyun held the controls with white knuckles. Every alarm on the ship was screaming. The engine was overheating, pushing past every safety limit. The hull was shaking so hard his teeth rattled. But he did not slow down. He did not turn away. On the sensor screen, he could see the interceptor growing larger. Its weapons were charging, glowing with deadly energy. In a few seconds, they would fire. And if they hit, the Moonlight Wanderer would become dust. "Closer," Yena said. She was watching the distance readings. "We need to be closer when the core explodes. If we are too far, they will survive. If we are too close, we won't survive. Then find the middle." The interceptor fired. Green light filled the screen as energy beams cut through space toward them. Do-hyun pulled the controls hard to the left. The ship screamed in protest, but it moved, dodging the first beam. The second beam clipped their wing, tearing off a piece of metal. The ship shook violently. "Hull breach in Section 4, Do-hyun shouted. "It does not matter. Keep going." He pushed forward. The interceptor was filling the whole view now, huge and black and terrifying. He could see its weapon ports glowing, preparing to fire again. At this range, they would not miss. "Now!" Yena yelled. "Eject the core now!" Do-hyun hit the emergency release. Deep in the ship, the engine core disconnected from its housing. He felt the ship lurch as the heavy component fell away, tumbling through space toward the interceptor. "Cargo bay!" Yena grabbed his arm and pulled him out of the pilot's seat. They ran. The ship was falling apart around them. Panels were coming off the walls. Sparks were flying from broken systems. The air was getting thin as it escaped through the hull breach, but they kept running. The cargo bay door was open. Yena pushed Do-hyun inside and jumped in after him. She hit the emergency seal, and the heavy door slammed shut behind them. The reinforced walls surrounded them like a metal cocoon. "Hold on to something," she said. Do-hyun grabbed a cargo strap and wrapped it around his arm. Yena did the same. They looked at each other in the dim emergency lighting. "If this doesn't work," Do-hyun started. "It will work. But if it doesn't, I want you to know. I'm glad I opened that escape pod." Yena's silver eyes softened. The blue glow under her skin pulsed gently. She opened her mouth to say something. The universe exploded. The engine core detonated against the interceptor's hull. Plasma fire erupted in a sphere of white-hot destruction. The Moonlight Wanderer, already damaged and breaking apart, was caught in the edge of the blast. The ship tore itself to pieces. Metal screamed. Fire roared. Everything became light and noise and chaos. The cargo bay spun wildly, thrown away from the explosion like a stone from a volcano. Inside, Do-hyun felt himself being thrown against the walls. His head hit something hard. Pain flashed through his body. He heard Yena cry out somewhere nearby. Then everything went black. When Do-hyun woke up, he thought he was dead. He was floating. There was no gravity. His body hurt everywhere. His head, his ribs, his arms. Every breath was painful. He tried to open his eyes, but the light was too bright. "Don't move." Yena's voice, close to him. He felt her hands on his chest, checking his injuries. "Where?" His voice was rough, broken. "We survived. The cargo bay held." She sounded tired, very tired. "The explosion destroyed the interceptor. There is nothing left but debris." Do-hyun forced his eyes open. He was floating in the cargo bay, which was now tumbling slowly through space. Emergency lights glowed red on the walls. Yena was next to him, holding herself steady with one hand while she examined his wounds with the other. She looked bad. Her silver hair was floating around her face, dirty with blood and ash. The bioluminescent lines under her skin were dim, barely glowing. She had burns on her arms and a deep cut on her forehead. "You're hurt," Do-hyun said. "You are hurt worse. You have broken ribs, a concussion, and internal bleeding. Your body is failing." "That sounds bad." "It is bad. You need real medical care. I can stabilize you, but I cannot save you. Not with what we have here." Do-hyun felt strangely calm. Maybe it was the head injury. Maybe it was shock. Or maybe he just did not have the energy to panic. "Did we get them?" he asked. "The interceptor. Did we really destroy it?" "Yes. You destroyed a silent hand vessel with a cargo freighter and an unstable engine core." Something like amazement entered her voice. "No one has ever done that before." Do-hyun smiled. It hurt his face, but he smiled anyway. "First time for everything." Yena was quiet for a moment. She stopped checking his injuries and just looked at him. Her silver eyes were full of something he could not quite identify. "I have studied humans for 20 years, she said softly. "I have read your history. I have watched your wars and your politics and your art. I thought I understood your species. I thought I knew what you were. And now? Now I know I understood nothing." She shook her head slowly. "The Velori make decisions based on logic, probability, survival calculations. If we face an enemy we cannot defeat, we surrender or run. We do not throw ourselves into fire for a chance to hurt them." Sounds sensible. "It is sensible. It is rational. It has kept my people alive for 1,000,000 years. She paused. "But it is also why we are afraid of you. Because humans do not calculate survival. You calculate meaning, purpose. You would rather die free than live controlled. And that makes you very, very dangerous." Do-hyun thought about that. She was right, he realized. He had not attacked the interceptor because he thought he could win. He had attacked because giving up felt worse than dying. Because some things were worth more than survival. "Is that why the Velori tried to keep us down?" he asked. "Because you were afraid of what we might become?" "Yes. The Council saw your potential, your creativity, your aggression, your insane refusal to accept limits. They decided you were too dangerous to grow naturally, so they caged you." Her voice became bitter. "And I helped them do it. But you stopped. You stole the archive. You're trying to make it right. I am trying, but I do not know if it is enough." Do-hyun reached out and took her hand. His grip was weak, but he held on. "It's enough," he said. "You chose to do the right thing. That's all any of us can do." Yena looked at their joined hands. The blue glow under her skin began to brighten again. Slowly at first, then stronger. I need to tell you something, she said, before you lose consciousness again. What? The interceptor sent a transmission before it was destroyed. They reported our position and your ship's identification. More will come. Perhaps many more. Do-Yun felt cold despite the warmth of her hand. How long? Hours. Maybe less. Then you need to go. Take the archive. Find a way to human space. Yena shook her head. I am not leaving you. Yena, I said no. Her voice was firm now, hard as metal. You stayed with me. You fought for me. You almost died for me. I am not going to fly away and let you die alone in the dark. The archive is more important than me. Perhaps. But I am done making decisions based only on what is important. She squeezed his hand. I am going to make decisions based on what is right. Do-Yun looked at her, this alien woman who had been his enemy, then his mystery, then his partner. Now something more. Something he did not have a word for. Okay, he said. Then we wait together. And we hope someone finds us before the Valori do. Yena nodded. She moved closer to him, holding his hand, keeping him warm as the cargo bay drifted through the endless black. Someone will come, she said. I have to believe that. Do-Yun closed his eyes. His body was failing. He could feel it. But he was not afraid. He was not alone. Then believe it, he whispered. That's the human way. And somewhere in the distance, a sensor beacon began to flash. The patrol ship Tegu's Pride was not looking for survivors. It was on a routine security sweep near the edge of the Kepler void when its sensors detected the debris field. Commander Nari stood on the bridge and studied the readings. Metal fragments, radiation signatures, the remains of at least 2 ships, one of them large. What happened here? She asked. Her sensor officer shook his head. Unknown, Commander. But there's something else. A beacon signal. Emergency distress. It's coming from inside the debris field. Nari made her decision quickly. Take us in. Launch search and rescue. They found the cargo bay drifting among the wreckage. It was battered and burned, barely holding together. But when they cut through the door, they found 2 people inside, still alive. A human man, badly injured and unconscious, and an alien woman holding his hand, her silver eyes watching the rescue team with desperate hope. He needs medical attention immediately, the alien said. He has internal bleeding. His organs are failing. The rescue team moved fast. They carried Do-Yun to the medical bay of the Tegu's Pride. The doctors went to work, fighting to save his life. Meanwhile, Commander Nari personally escorted Yena to a secure room for questioning. Who are you? Nari asked. Her voice was professional, controlled, but her eyes were sharp with suspicion. My name is Yena. I am Valori. Nari's expression hardened. The Valori were known to humans, barely. They were a powerful species who kept to themselves, rarely interacting with younger civilizations. The few times humans had encountered them, the Valori had been cold and dismissive, treating humanity like children who were not worth their time. What are you doing in human space? Running. Yena held up the metal container. And carrying something your species needs to see. She told Nari everything, the same story she had told Do-Yun, the Valori's cultivation program, the centuries of manipulation, the scientists killed, the leaders assassinated, the progress sabotaged. Nari listened without expression, but her hands slowly curled into fists. When Yena finished, the commander was quiet for a long moment. If this is true, she said slowly, it changes everything. It is true. The archive proves it. And you expect us to just believe you? An alien who shows up out of nowhere with a story about ancient conspiracies? Yena met her eyes without fear. I expect you to look at the evidence and decide for yourself. That is what humans do, isn't it? You find the truth. You make your own choices. That is why my people feared you. That is why they tried to keep you down, because you cannot be controlled. Nari stared at her for a long time. Then she took the container. I'm going to have our intelligence officers examine this. Every file, every record. If you're lying to us, you will spend the rest of your life in a prison cell. She paused. And if you're telling the truth, then you will know what was done to you, and you can decide what to do about it. The examination took 3 days. 3 days while Do-hyun lay in the medical bay, fighting for his life. 3 days while Yena waited in her secure room, wondering if the humans would believe her or throw her away. The doctors saved Do-hyun. It was close, very close, but they pulled him back from death. When he finally opened his eyes, Yena was there. She had been given permission to visit him. "Hey," he said. His voice was weak, rough. "Hey," she almost smiled. "You survived. Told you the human way works. You almost died." Almost is not the same as actually. She did smile then, just a little. It was strange on her face, like she was not used to it. But it was real. "The archive," Do-hyun said. "Did they look at it?" "They are looking. Commander Nari has contacted Earth Command. Many people are involved now. Important people." "And what are they saying?" Yena's smile faded. "They are angry, Do-hyun, very angry. 300 years of lies and murder and manipulation. When the full truth comes out, your entire species will want revenge." Do-hyun nodded slowly. He had expected that. "And what about you? What happens to you?" "I do not know. I am a traitor to my people. I cannot go home. I am not sure I have a home anymore." Do-hyun reached out and took her hand, just like he had in the cargo bay. "Yes, you do. It's just going to take some getting used to." Commander Nari came to see them later that day. Her face was different now, still professional, but there was something else underneath. Respect, maybe, or gratitude. "The archive is authentic," she said. "Our experts have verified every file. This is the biggest intelligence discovery in human history." "What happens now?" Do-hyun asked. "Now we prepare. Earth Command is assembling a council. Military leaders, scientists, politicians. They're going to study the archive and develop a response strategy." She paused. "This isn't going to be quick. The Valori are powerful. We can't just attack them. But we can stop being their victims. We can make sure they never manipulate us again." "And the other species?" Yena asked. "The archive contains information about dozens of civilizations the Valori have suppressed. Not just humans." Nari nodded. "We know. And when we're ready, we'll reach out to them. Build alliances, share information." Her eyes were hard with determination. "The Valori kept us all in cages. It's time to open the doors." After Nari left, Yena sat quietly for a long time. The blue glow under her skin pulsed slowly, rhythmically. "What are you thinking?" Do-hyun asked. "I am thinking that I spent my whole life believing I was helping to protect the galaxy. I believed the Valori were wise and good and necessary. I believed younger species needed to be controlled for their own safety." She shook her head. "I was wrong about everything." "Not everything. You figured out the truth. You stole the archive. You came to us. Only after 20 years of helping to hurt your people." Do-hyun squeezed her hand. "Then spend the next 20 years helping to fix it." She looked at him, and for a moment her silver eyes were shining with something that might have been tears. The Valori did not cry, she had told him once, but maybe she was not entirely Valori anymore. "Would you help me?" she asked. "I know it is a lot to ask after everything, but I do not want to do this alone." Do-hyun smiled. "I'm a cargo pilot. I fly around the galaxy delivering things." He shrugged. "Might as well deliver some truth along the way." 6 months later, Do-Yun stood in a small shipyard looking at his new ship. It was bigger than the Moonlight Wanderer, faster, better armed. The hull was sleek and dark, designed for both speed and survival. On the side, in clean white letters, was the name New Dawn. Yena came to stand beside him. She was different now, too. She wore human clothes. Her silver hair was cut shorter, and she smiled more. Not often, but more. "It's a good ship," she said. "It needs to be. We've got a lot of work ahead of us." Earth Command had given them a mission: travel to the worlds the Valori had suppressed, make contact with the species there, share the archive, build a network of allies who could stand together against the Valori's control. It was dangerous work. The Valori would be hunting them. The Silent Hand would come again, probably stronger than before. Every day would be a risk. But it was also important work, necessary work, the kind of work that mattered. Do-Hyun walked up the ramp into the ship, Yena beside him. They reached the bridge and took their seats, Do-Hyun in the pilot chair, Yena in the co-pilot position. "Ready?" he asked. "Ready?" He powered up the engine. The ship hummed with life, strong and eager. The docking clamps released. The New Dawn lifted off the platform and turned toward the stars. "So," Do-Hyun said as they entered open space, "any more secrets I should know about?" Yena looked at him, and the glow under her skin pulsed with something like amusement. "A few," she said, "but I will tell you when you are ready." Do-Hyun laughed, and the sound filled the bridge. Then he pushed the throttle forward, and the New Dawn jumped into the light of the stars, carrying its crew of 2 toward whatever came next. Behind them, Earth was already changing. The truth was spreading. The cage doors were opening, and humanity, stubborn, dangerous, impossible humanity, was finally waking up. The Valori had tried to keep them small. They had failed, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same.